You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time has somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning, St. George. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living St. George's Sunday celebration. I'm Bill Smith. I'll be your host today. And we have a really interesting and exciting lineup for you today. Let me start with a little bit about CSL St. George, starting with our purpose. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love, using the science of mind and spirit principles and practices. Our vision, CSL St. George, is a community-focused center, actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may live their best lives. And I believe I am the first to publicly announce our mission, which we settled on yesterday. CSL St. George is an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision through these 6 points. Sacred wisdom celebrations, one of which you're participating in right now. Empowering transformative education, youth and young adult programs, dynamic music ministry, community inreach, and community outreach. Now today we have quite a team lined up for you. As I mentioned, I'm the host. Marina Anderson, who is our core council president, who is also very technically gifted. She's backstage making sure that we all show up and sound good. Speaking of sounding good, Alan Stanley is going to be playing his guitar and picking a little bit and singing a few songs for us. Our invocation will be by one of our practitioners, Stephanie Sterrett, and our reading, for the first time publicly on this platform, Mr. Charles Smith, who is also our core council treasurer. And of course, our senior minister, Reverend Joe Kovach, will be giving us our message today, which is about practice making imperfect. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. So now I'd like to introduce you to Alan. Come on in, Alan. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm in. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So we're practicing imperfect. So I better be patient with myself on getting this project done. So we're going to sing a little bit, sort of about that. Just be patient and gentle with ourselves as we progress. So you're welcome to sing along. We get about halfway through. Stephanie's going to come in and say a prayer, and we'll come back and finish up. So just sit back, relax, and please sing along. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will love myself like a newborn baby child. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will love myself like a newborn baby child.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, I invite us all to just relax and know that in this beautiful, hot summer day in St. George, Utah, we are blessed, knowing that there is only one mind. And that mind is God's mind, and it is internal. It is inside, right here, right now. And so accepting this and knowing this and feeling this, I share this opening affirmative prayer, knowing that all is perfectly aligned in the imperfection of all that is. There is perfection and security and safety. And I know this to be the truth. And because I know it for myself, I know that for each and every individual watching today. There is a safety within for being human. That we are already whole and perfect is the truth. And what we experience is nothing more than an experience. And so I allow this to be in my life, and I share it with each and every one of you. This one life is perfect and whole, and I am perfectly imperfect within it. And so I release it into the law, knowing that it is done, as I bless each and every one here today. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is. So it is. Thank you, Stephanie. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I know I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. I am gentle with myself. I am gentle with myself. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I wrap myself like a newborn baby child. And I hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I love myself like a newborn baby child. Now we'd like to invite Charles in to do our reading for us. Come on in, Charles.
Good morning, Alan, and good morning, everybody. For today's reading, I've selected a passage from Wayne Dyer's book, Excuses Be Gone. Yes, you can change old habits. Have you ever wanted to change some facet of your personality, but another part of you insisted that this is impossible because your genetic programming is responsible for how you think, feel, and behave? That latter part of you believes in biologically determined unhappy genes, shy genes, fat genes, and bad luck genes, among others. Due to your luck of the draw, it will tell you, you have a set of misery genes, along with a sizable cache of weight gaining genes, if these are the aspects you wish to change. The belief that we cannot change our biology is beginning to be challenged by scientific scholars engaged in cell biology research. It seems that humans do have the ability to change and even reverse some of their genetic blueprints. Openness and curiosity, along with the desire to be free from excuses, are the basic prerequisites for learning about the exciting evidence concerning genetic predisposition. One of the pioneers of this new way of understanding DNA, Dr. Bruce Lipton, is a cell biologist who taught medical students before resigning to do research and lecture full-time. In a groundbreaking book called The Biology of Belief, Lipton writes that life is not controlled by genes. In fact, his research led him to the conclusion that they're strictly blueprints. The invisible, formless energy that constitutes the gene's environment is the architect that turns the blueprint into this mystery we call life. Lipton realized that both the human body and the universe itself are mental and spiritual in nature. There's a field of invisible energy with a total absence of physical properties that creates the particles we call cells, and this invisible field is the sole governing function of the body. So, since the body is not exclusively a physical machine, we can all find out how to control and impact our health. Even more astonishing is Lipton's understanding that our personal belief systems, including our perceptions, have the capacity to trump our genetic inheritance and our cellular DNA. It's possible to influence the infinitesimally tiny particles we've come to believe are the ultimate determiners of our lives. That is, when we change the way we think and learn new ways of perceiving, we can actually change our DNA. Your perceptions have the power to change your genetic makeup. Your beliefs can and do control your biology.
Whew, that's great, Charles. Get you thinking. So I'd work on that often, but one thing I do know, I just have to keep loving myself the way I am, because I am, how would you say, imperfectly perfect? How does that work? Oh, you sing along. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. There'll always be the perfect me, nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. If I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can plainly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So I tell the world of peace on earth that only love can bring, and I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am. I still want to grow. The change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. Yes, I love myself just the way I am.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Bill.
I got to say, I agree with you. I love yourself just the way you am too.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right. Well, here we are at the point where I bring on Reverend Kovach, and he's going to tell me or tell us something that my old football coaches would not quite agree with. I think most of them agreed that only perfect practice makes perfect. But Reverend Joe's going to tell us a little bit about how practice makes imperfect through the use of what if perfection isn't the goal?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure your coach wouldn't agree with that either.
I know.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Joe.
Good morning. How are you feeling this morning? Just check in with yourself, right? I know you're tuning in to hear a message, but check in with yourself, because that's the best message that I can teach you to understand. It's all right here. So how are you feeling? And just as our reading said, and thank you, Charles, for that perfect reminder, that our mind, our consciousness, the thoughts that we hold do dictate what is happening in this moment, and we can change them if we're not happy with that. But let me go back for a minute. And first, again, welcome. I don't want to go back past that, but I want to thank our practitioners who did a wonderful job again last week with our service talk. That was practitioner Sue, Stephanie, and Bill, who you just saw. Wonderful job. And they, had a last minute change of plans, and nobody would know the difference because they're just so amazing at what they do. And we're so blessed. I'm so blessed as the senior minister to be able to have such a dynamic and perfect group of practitioners that can pull off talks. And I invite them to talk every fifth Sunday, every time we have a fifth Sunday in a month. And it's nice. It's good to hear different perspectives. And that's what we're doing here. We're learning about different perspectives. And this week, we're going to learn about perfection, which is near and dear to my heart. We can come at perfection. We will come at perfection, the idea of different ways this month, and recognize particularly how it hinders our spiritual and personal growth. Right? This idea of pursuing perfection in the idea that it has to be this way, or we're wrong, somebody's wrong. And it stops us from really recognizing the perfection in what we would call the imperfection. So we're going to look at and examine ways in which perfectionism really holds us back. It prevents us from being the best me I can be in the moment. And remember, there's no final stage like a video game. I have to remind myself that all the time. I love video games. It's like, okay, we get here and we get everything done, and then we're just happy, and then we just go to heaven. And that's not how it works. That's not how we believe it works or understand. but we do believe that it's an infinite world because God is forever being in different and infinite ways, and we are individually recognizing how God is being in physical form. So there is no end to that. And we're going to talk about how that's interconnected in just a second. So by looking at perfectionism, the goal would be to discover a new perspective that's going to embrace, again, our imperfections, our flaws, our not good enough, so to speak, and then change our journey of becoming, because we're going to look at it from a new way. Just like, again, Charles was talking about how our consciousness, our thoughts about things change, even down to the DNA, which when I was young, that was it. You can't change your DNA. Oh, it's a genetic problem. I'm sorry, you would hear. No, not anymore. And it's not foo-foo stuff. Science is proving this. So in our terms of science of mind philosophy here, I want to bring out two important words as we talk about perfectionism. The first one is looking at life through the idea of oneness, that everything exists within one beingness. I use a circle. We use a circle often, although that circle does, even though we draw it with a line, it has no circumference, okay? So it's just everything is part of a whole. Just like you would say, if you're looking at the ocean or even an aquarium for a smaller version, everything is whole within the aquarium. But at the same time, you can look at the fish, it's an individual, but it's all part of the whole. Or like and there's many, many pieces to a puzzle, but it's all part of the whole. Or the one, it's all one. Sorry, well, we're going to talk about wholeness in a second. I jumped on myself. So it's all one. It's all happening. Existence is divine. It's all spiritual. It encompasses everything. But when we come from this negative place of perfectionism, meaning there's only one, we limit what we're experiencing. We limit that. Not that life is doing it to us, but we, through our divine nature, are saying, well, this is how it has to look. And if it doesn't look that way, it's wrong, it's bad. And then we get into other things we're going to talk about later. Instead of diving into just the infinite nature of divinity and the way that it expresses. And so oneness, let's think about perfectionism in the terms of it's all truly, when I say all, meaning all those thoughts and beliefs and flaws that we would say are not good, that we resist and push against, are still part of the one. Now, I want to mention the word wholeness again. Wholeness reminds us that oneness must have all of the pieces to the puzzle within it. We believe that God, there is one God, and that which we call God, spirit, presence, life, call it force, whatever you may. Okay, it's all, we're all vibrating, being within this one, and yet it's whole. Often in science, I would say it's whole, perfect, and complete. Not that it's ever completely done, but in this moment, it's complete. Okay, so this pursuit of perfectionism, looking at the terms of wholeness, that really all the answers to my issues are there. But if we're coming from perfection, we won't see it. We often don't see it, or it takes us longer to see. So let us remind ourselves of some very important principles of our philosophy, which is oneness. It's all happening together. We're all on the same team. We're all swimming in the same aquarium. We're all different pieces of the same puzzle, infinite puzzle. Okay, but we're all whole, and life is whole. Okay, it's all here. And that's really what when we're talking about living a spiritual life, that's what we're trying to understand. That, okay, that which I call God is not out there. And at the same time, it is out there. But the only way I'm going to understand it is here. So that means it's here as well. So therefore, it is truly everything. Now, when we do come from perfectionism, again, the out there, the in here, now that's for a description, but we do that and it causes what we call duality, a this and a that. Okay, there's that, there's this, and then we come from only that perspective, we get into right and wrong, this way or that way. Perfectionism is a this or that kind of mindset instead of a this and that. Okay, so perfectionism thrives on this illusion of duality. Now, we may seem to experience that in our life. Okay, you're going to say, Joe, you're there, I'm here. There's two of us going on. Yes, but remember, we're all swimming within that same life force. Okay, and so therefore we are still intricately connected. Okay, and in a short talk, I'm going to do my best to understand that. But okay, wholeness and oneness, that's where we come from. Perfection. In other words, we're coming from a place that's grounded and seated in perfection. Ernest Holmes, our founder in the Science of Mind book, says the Spirit has already ordained that nature shall be perfect. It would be impossible for Spirit to ordain anything else, since in order to be at all, it must be perfect in its nature. God is will and representation. A perfect cause, hear this, a perfect cause must produce a perfect effect. The normal functions of life are harmonious, but we interfere with these in our ignorance and thus bring discord into temporary being. All right, so there's some language in there. What is he saying in simplicity? If I'm trying to talk to a 10-year-old, what am I saying? I'm saying that you start when you, let's see, how can I really simplify this? If you start with a new puzzle, all the pieces are already there. So recognize what we call cause, which is our thoughts. Our thoughts are causal in nature. If I think happy thoughts, I feel happy. If I think sad thoughts, I feel sad. So they're, in essence, causing me how I feel and therefore how I'm going to act. So what Ernest Holmes is saying is we limit the perfection of the divine that we are in nature. In essence, if we didn't, like as children, perfect, we love everybody, we love everything, and then we learn to grow and be as humans, and that's perfect too. We decide to choose things we like and don't like, that's perfect too. There may be imperfect things about the way we do things, the way we look, the way we act, and that's okay too. So perfectionism has a way of narrowing our focus, in essence, like fixating on limited ideas. And then we disregard the infinite nature, the infinite possibilities that do exist through life's expression. Right? So what we believe is if that which we call spirit is there's only one mind, it's consciousness, and we're all that. So we have access to that. Our thought is what we would call God's thought or Spirit's thought. Okay, we are that. But we're kind of narrowing our opportunity when we come from this place of it has to look like this. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us may not even know we're limiting. Well, that's just how it is. That's how I've always done it. This is, we don't broaden our perspective of we live in the same neighborhood or the same city or the same state, and that we're in a microcosm. And that's okay. But maybe we take an opportunity to broaden our horizons. Okay, so we could do that with our own individual thought. So through the going back to ever looking through the lens of oneness, we can recognize how even when we do show up as imperfect, when we make mistakes, okay, that which is spirit, it's all part of the same puzzle still, and there's infinite ways to experience the good that life is. I've shared this dream a couple times, but I'm going to share it in a different way. I had a dream where I was out in space, full color, full everything, and I was just kind of had a perspective out in space. Actually, I've had it twice. Once I felt like I was on a ship out there, and then others just kind of a place of being. And I was looking at the earth, and it was indescribably beautiful. And, you know, here it is, we say it's a sphere, and we look at it. And in that moment, what came to me was how many billions of people are running around living their lives. Now, I couldn't see it because in the individuals, because I was just looking at the whole. And it was perfect. just the way that is. And my consciousness kind of went drawn down into the running around, almost like us as we would look at ants, and they're all running around and doing the things. And what came to me was, it's all working. You start with perfection, therefore everything within it is perfect. It's all assisting. It's all coming to a greater sense of being within and of itself. So everyone or every one individual was in their own unique way contributing to the experience and perfection of the whole. There we go again, one and whole. And I became at the same time aware that there was what I would say a loving intelligence. We can call it God or spirit, but it was a loving intelligence that already knew it was perfect in spite of our individual views, and just loved on it, meaning just not the planet as just rock and debris, but everything that was happening within it. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Now, recently, I like to share things that are happening in my life. And one of the ways I lift myself up daily is I get a few different emails from inspirational people. One of them is Mike Dooley. Look him up. He writes these things called Notes from the Universe. But this was a separate email that he got. And I want to read it to you because, again, the idea is taking a different look at things, different perspectives. And he says, it says, Jambo Joe, which is Swahili greeting. What a wild and exciting time to be alive. Now, this is bold. This is the apocalypse. Now, that caught my attention because he doesn't usually write about things like that I would consider biblical. This is the apocalypse, which foresaw the destruction, and then he puts in parentheses, deconstruction, of our long sleep of forgetfulness, as it yields to the greatest awakening humanity has ever experienced. You not only knew what you were doing, Joe, when you chose to be you here and now, but you earned the right to be a light in the darkness. Now you're doing the same thing just by being you. No matter what you feel, you are within, and you are God in expression, life in expression, coming from perfection. It says, and then it goes on to say, legions in the unseen are now excitedly cheering your every move, offering their love and encouragement. Well, that made me feel good. And it made me look at the word apocalypse differently. Instead of destruction, he wrote the word deconstruction. Now he says the Armageddon, a final battle between truth and ignorance, has already begun. Truth and ignorance. What we know and say is true, and then the ignorance of that, which is our individual belief. It says final, not because there are the end of times, but because ignorance is on its last legs. Heaven on earth hangs in the balance. It says the questions before us are simple. One, to continue living as merely human, or to live supernaturally, or in our divine nature. To see yourself as separate from everyone else, or to recognize our unity, or instead of coming from separation or duality, coming from oneness. Or the third one was to be driven by fear or inspired by love. Okay, interesting perspective. And I shared that because I love apocalypse. My mind goes through this limited understanding of what I knew apocalypse as, but then I continue to read, and now I have a different understanding of how he sees it. Now, how do you see it? You get to decide what works for you. So I believe that we're exactly where we're supposed to be. That's what this message is saying. And I do believe that we are in a shift of consciousness. And what that simply means is that as a whole, we're able to think at higher and higher levels as a norm. That's what I'm saying. And so perfectionism, again, it thrives on this illusion of separation and duality, the belief that there is a clear distinction between perfect and imperfect. Okay, and that when we come from this place, what do? We judge ourselves. We judge others. We fall into fear. And we're in a constant state of flawedness, inadequacy, lack. Okay. Ernest Holmes says, false ideas heaped upon false ideas make bad matters worse. The whole confusion of the world arises from the fundamental errors of thought. Chief among these errors, and the cause to a greater part of the others, is a belief in duality. So we see ourselves separate from good. We believe we're not good enough, that there's good out there and I have to do X, Y, and Z to get there, and it's just not in my cards. That's duality. Instead of recognizing a way that I like to use energy. So I'm coming from a lower vibration and therefore I'm experiencing things here. So let's say I'm on an AM radio channel, but I really want to experience a broader, more vast experience or have that. So then it's up to me to raise the channel, raise my thoughts to accepting a different way of thinking. And in essence, it's an easier way of thinking. That good is already mine. Now I'm in FM stereo and I'm loving life. And then it goes on. Then there's high def. And then it goes on and on and on. So even while I'm operating where I am right now, I know that there's room to grow. Yet if I jump too far, it's not going to feel right. That's okay. It's not wrong. It's not imperfect. Okay, it is perfect. And when things we say go wrong, what we teach in Science of Mind is to look for the blessing, look for the gold, ask where spirit is in this situation. Why do we say that? Because it's all one, right? That which we call God is everywhere present in its fullness, all knowingness. And if we can't see it in our ignorance, okay, we're not making ourselves wrong. We're just ignorant. We don't know what we don't know. So we're asking to raise up the vibration, kind of a little help there. To help me turn the dial here, life. I want to see it from a better perspective. I was watching some videos lately by one of our ministers, Reverend Cliff Rubin, and he said these words. He said, there is truth in the form of knowledge. Truth in the form of knowledge. So that means we have it up here. But he was talking about wisdom. And he called wisdom the expansion of truth. And then he added, or non-truth. Meaning, so whatever we're holding up here and saying is true, and we hold it as true, it's going to come to and through our lives and show up for us to experience. So it's important to lock in on truth, universal truth, and that's what we teach. Okay, that's what we know. That's what we've tested across all humanity. And they're universal truths, so it's the same for everybody in spite of any other separation or difference. But the tricky thing is sometimes we say we know what is true in this idea of protecting ourselves in perfection, and then we block it. So perfection can really paralyze us from seeing and understanding truth at a higher level, at a I don't want to say higher all the time, at a different level, a more expansive level. So it also prevents us when we come from this place of perfectionism then, okay, we have our thoughts, we're opened, we have our emotions, our feelings that we're tying to this, and we can open it. It feels better to come from an unlimited place, from a place of this and that and everywhere in between. So no matter where I'm at, I can get to where I want to be. That feels good. Now, that's the next step is how are we taking that into the activity of our lives? Are we living from a place of prosperity, of abundance, of richness, right? And I mean rich as in like just deeply good, okay? The pursuit of perfection kind of creates like this constant state of striving, of trying to get somewhere where, again, we feel like we're always behind it, I hear a lot of people say, well, you know how it is, one step up, two steps back. And I tend to reply now, yeah, so you're making progress. Well done. And then they look at me like, well, that's not where I want to be. Yeah, but you're on the path. If you took one step up, you may have shift back down, but you're still one step up. Oh, but I took two steps back. Yes, but the way life shows up, when you take a step forward and you feel it, it's not the same as the two small steps that you take back. And that's sometimes what's coming to me right now is it's important to pause. We take a big leap. We go out there, and then we should maybe take a couple smaller steps back and look around, and is this what's best for me? We pause. Those 2 steps can be very important to us backwards. And we're not really backing, but we're just, okay, this feels good. I look around. It feels great. What can I do now? And so in perfection, we don't want it to allow us to, and we do, stop taking action in the direction that we want to. And this is a big one for me. And perfectionism comes up. It's not just that crazy mind where everything has to be in a row. It's not what I'm talking about. Always, that's maybe part of it. For me, it shows up in procrastination or lack of decision making. Well, I don't really know, because what happens if I make the wrong choice? I'm going to look bad, and I already really don't feel great about myself. So I don't want to look like a fool. And we just, now we're literally holding ourselves back. Why? Because we don't recognize that everything we do, seated with the right intention in oneness and wholeness, is perfect, because we're coming from that. Even when we can't see that perfection, that's perfect, because there's a greater intelligence guiding us, because we're asking for it. And there's examples all over the place to find inspiration. My daughter and I, she was not feeling well the last few days, and she decided to rewatch some old episodes of a TV series for children that we used to watch when she was younger, and I enjoy it. And the one I sat in on it was perfect timing. Again, as someone who does talks, I'm constantly looking for things to add in. And so I will say it was called Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn. And I'm sure my daughter, if she's listening to this, is cracking up right now. But they were quads. There were 4 children. And the one who is like the brainiac, he just always has to get the A. He always gets the A, and that's his deal. But he took an art class. And long story short, it just drove him nuts, because the teacher's like, oh, well, there's really no rules here. There's just, well, what should I draw? Well, whatever you want. Well, I can't handle that. Tell me what to draw. Well, no, that's up to you. And you're just discovering your internal creativity. And that's not how he was used to having his mind work. Okay. And so it drove him nuts. What did he want? Just tell me how to get the A. Just tell me how to get the A. Why? Well, because the A makes me feel good. It doesn't make me feel bad. Why? Because I'm constantly judging everybody else when they don't get the A, and I put myself above them. See how that works? And so I thought, I was like, oh, they were doing a good job, a lesson of teaching children to release that perfectionism and just to be yourself. So something else I wanted to share is going back to Reverend Cliff Rubin. He's talking about a specific topic, but I'm going to use it generally. He says, enthusiasm is more important than anything else. And what I'm going to add to that is when we're trying to get somewhere, is what he was generally talking about, trying to create something. That enthusiasm is more important than anything else. Now, enthusiasm, my quote is, enthusiasm is often more important than the outcome. We're trying to get somewhere, but the energy that we bring with it matters greatly. Now, enthusiasm comes back from the Greek word enthusiasmos, which basically means to be inspired or possessed by a god, small g, God. So literally, you are inspired, you're open, you're flowing with God energy, with spirit source, which it's just, you're tapped in, you're tuned in, you're turned on, it's flowing. And so what if we came from every day a greater power that we call enthusiasm? Now we just say, you know what I know is I'm coming from this perfection. I'm already this perfection. I'm having an experience in the moment of imperfection. So if I just get excited and I come from this power that I think is fun, is open, and I know the direction I want to head, but yet if I don't get there in the way I think I should, it's okay. I will add today's reading in Science of Mind magazine was perfect related to that. So question for the of you that are listening right now. I'm going to ask you, do you think about, feeling about, or how do you think about and feel about taking action. When there's something, when there's a challenge, when you're not sure, what does that feel like? And if you just said, well, screw it, let's go with all the enthusiasm in the world, eventually, one, even if you don't get there, you're feeling great anyway, right? It's kind of like, in essence, some days, I used to play ice hockey quite a bit, and there's times perfectionism drove me nuts. It was difficult. I was a goalie, so I had to try to be perfect every game, not let any goals in. And when I had that attitude, it drove me insane for a while. I'm going to say for years. It was difficult. I beat myself up. And then I learned that, you know what, chances are of not letting in any goal every game is not going to happen. It's never been done. So can I just enjoy myself? Can I learn from my mistakes? When it goes in, the puck goes behind me, what happened real quickly? Can I do it better? Can I recognize? Can I learn and move on? And I found that I found my love again for the game, just like when I first started, when it was new, and I knew I was new, so I was going to make mistakes, and it was okay. But then I took on this judgment that I had to now, well, you've been doing this for a long time. You should be this. You should be that. Okay? So how often do you do that? How often do you really want to experience something and hold yourself back because of these limited thoughts? Okay? Those are important. Just like, again, going back to our reading, they literally control, our thoughts can control and change our DNA. What do you think they're doing to the experience of your whole body? So do you think about that everything is truly happening harmoniously, right? That just right now, you're right where you're supposed to be. It's perfect. There's an infinite amount of choices you can make, but you're making these, and that's okay. You have an idea of the direction you want to go, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just sitting there and you're in a place where you're just stuck. I don't know which way is up. Okay? So try a way. Try it with enthusiasm. You know, there's a phrase that I took on and I teach to my students called failing forward. Okay? We tend to look at failing as the opposite of success, but it's not. Failing is part of success. Again, kind of like going back to my idea of not letting in goals every game. It's not going to happen. And we are not going to do everything perfect or right the first time. It would be kind of boring, if you admit it, if that happened. Everything we wanted showed up. Everything, just happened. The experience would not be as grand and as vast as we are living now. Now, we can maybe try to do without some of the deeper struggles, but you know what? We can get there. That's what Ernst Holmes is telling us. We can get there. We just continue to recognize where we're ignorant, where we're not knowing what we need to know, but we know all the pieces are there because, again, it's one and it's whole. So the invitation this week is to kind of a call to action. I want you to simply reflect on perfectionism and how may it be showing up in your life. I mentioned for me, it shows up a lot in procrastination. It can even be depression. We get depressed because we so constantly think that I'm not what I want to be. I'm imperfect. I'm flawed. I'm this. I'm that. I'm not good enough, tall enough, whatever. Feeling right. Well, how does that feel? Not so good. So, well, I can't change my thoughts, Joe. Yes, you can. I'm giving you the permission because it's already there, but maybe you need someone to say that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I'm going to invite you just to feel maybe where you feel stuck. And then one of these great idea what to do is tap into something that you already have great enthusiasm for. Like, I just, love doing this. And then switch it quickly to the other thing and practice that. So I'm really trying to get better at working out. Now, I'm really loving my video games. And every time I feel alive, I love it, blah, 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 blah. So then just pause for a minute and then think about working out. I really want to, but I'm not there yet. Okay. The more you make that shift, you're going to carry that energy over to the other idea. You're going to slowly change your thoughts. And sometimes it's not so slowly. So, excuse me. Gretchen Rubin says, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. What does that mean? You're doing good right now, my friends, right where you are. You're fine. You're perfect. You may not see it. You may not recognize it, but I'm letting you know that is the truth of you, because it's the truth of me. It's the truth of all of us. Even those that are doing some heinous things. Okay. We're not saying yes to what they're doing, but we know in essence that they still come from perfection. They're just very ignorant. And we're here to love on them with enthusiasm. And I know I'm challenging some of you right now by saying this, with enthusiasm. But why do I know that? Because coming from Spirit, the perfect source, can only yield a perfect outcome. That's what we learned earlier. All right. Rumi quote. Rumi says, if you wish your heart to be bright, you must do a little work. If metal can be polished to a mirror-like finish, what polishing does the mirror of the heart require? So in other words, that's rubbing off the ignorance. We won't know, though, until we take a look. We won't know. I'm going to skip this last quote because I'm looking at the time. And what I want to end on, other than that, asking you to take a look at how perfection may be showing up in your life. And if you need help, please always reach out to any of our practitioners or myself. But you're perfect right where you are. Now, if you can't hear that, okay, let me just say this. You're not broken. You're not lacking in anything. You have access to all the puzzle pieces. You may not know where they are. You may still be sitting in the dark and can't see a thing. But I'm going to tell you that there's a way. Okay? You have all the crayons that you want to create your masterpiece. And the canvas is yours. And nobody colors and creates except you. If you need help, keep coming to our services. Join a class. Call a practitioner. Okay? We will hold what is truly true and know of your perfection. What did I just do? Went too far. How did I do that? Back it up. There we go. Our affirmation. See, that was perfectly imperfect. Our affirmation. We're talking about a life-affirming statement that programming our mind. I embrace the beauty of my divine imperfections. I embrace the beauty of my divine imperfections. The more I say that, even the imperfections, the flaws are perfect. They're divine, they're godly, they're spirit, they're life. And what does that mean? That life, the intelligence of all that is making more out of what I see as limited. So I'm going to go into prayer and close. I close my eyes. Just join me in these positive thoughts of recognizing the perfection that is. Call it spirit, call it source, call it God, call it love, call it joy, Buddha, Christ, whatever feels enthusiastic to you. It's all one. It's all perfect. We're all experiencing it together. We may seem separate. We may seem distant. It may seem that there's another out there, but we're all on this same life humanity team. Are all on the same spiritual team. We're coming from a place of love, and where love is not felt, I am now affirming it is felt because I know it is present. Where joy was not being felt, I affirm now that it is being felt and recognized and known and expressed. I know that this community of St. George is growing perfectly. And I love the imperfections of this community as well. I love the mistakes we make. I love the ahas that we do. I love all the people that walk through the door, even if they never come back again. It is all perfectly imperfect. I do know because I feel the enthusiasm of this community growing. It's like a lighthouse that is just shining brighter and brighter for more people to become aware that they can live their life in alignment with that which we call spirit. And it's beautiful, and it's flowing. It's a stream of consciousness, and it's never ending. It's all good, and it's all love. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Joe.
Thank you.
I would say that was perfect, but well, anyway, that perfectionism, that can be a tough curse. I think about, you mentioned procrastination, but the ones that really bother me are the ones where I didn't know the outcome and I didn't know that I could make a perfect decision. I made no decision at all
Right.
and missed out on a tremendous opportunity. So yeah, maybe we can talk.
Lots of layers. And let's invite everybody that's listening to join us in our conversation afterwards in 5 minutes.
Absolutely. And I'd love to hear more about your dream where you're looking down on the earth, from space. I've had a couple situations like that in meditation, but never in a full-on dream. So I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, will do.
All right. See you on the other side. All right. We've got a couple announcements today before we close it up. First one is prayer requests. All of our practitioners are here for you. And if you do have a prayer request, just send us an email to www.cslstgeorge.org and on the page called About. And there you can find any of the practitioners and click on us and drop us an email, and we'll get together. And when that comes in, the practitioner that you will have chosen will share that prayer request with the rest of the practitioners, so you get 5-6 times the prayers. So that's a pretty good little system there. Our next in-person is July 14th, and for those of you keeping track at home or not, that's next week, 7 days from now. So join us next Sunday, and we will have a Zoom conversation today at noon. And if you need a link for that, either check the newsletter that comes out at the beginning of the month or the website that's always there. And you can find a link to that Zoom conversation. Abundant prosperity. We are an abundant center. And we are abundant because that is our mindset. You can participate in that abundance in a few different ways. One is how a lot of us do that is through Zelle, which is a bank-to-bank transfer system. You can find the information on that in our newsletter as well. Or you can give online. There's a PayPal link on our website as well. Or you can drop us a check in the mail. It'll take a few more days, but that's fine. P.O. Box 3132, St. George. All right, upcoming Sundays. Next Sunday, in person. Did I mention that we're in person next Sunday? We're in person next Sunday. Reverend Joe will be talking about leaning into perfection. And then on the 21st, online, he'll be talking about imperfect practices. So it's all this imperfection is coming around. All right, now we're going to do our closing affirmation. So all of the participants for today will get on screen. And once we're all here, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're here. All right. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, life.
Bye.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
See you in a couple